Hello, all you beautiful people. We are back yet again for another episode of Fly the Flag. We're a mortgage show where we talk to mortgage people about mortgage things. Sometimes some real estate stuff too. I'm Mike Ferrossi, my co-host Johnny Fowler. How you doing today, brother?
I am good. But like I was saying earlier, I am getting rid of this Yeti Blue mic the minute I get 13 seconds back from the conference next week. I did not realize how bad it was. And this is the one everybody's always, said to use and so forth. And I've been using them for years. But
it was a great mic quite a few years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
It was. Exactly. But the more people are in front of cameras on their computers and streaming and podcasting and Zooming and Teamsing and everything, I think a lot of people have picked up their mic game. So we don't want you to fall behind too far.
I have got to, and I've got to now. So I'm really excited, especially for these two people that we have on today. So these are two names that are probably already known, but I think in the next 6 to 12 months, we won't be able to get them booked inside of a system because they're so, Teresa is on the Inman stage 4 or 5 times a month kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really excited. I want you to meet them. I want you to become friends with them. And I want you to watch what they do because, and this is just no bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
They are changing the real estate world. And in my opinion, this is the biggest change in the real estate world since we went from, we've had no advancements, in my opinion, in the real estate industry, in the mortgage industry. We went from paper applications to LOS systems, and then, my God, we came out with automated underwriting systems. And we really, there's a couple products that come out and there's a bunch of tech that just doesn't work with other things. This is the biggest evolution that I have seen in our industry.
Let's go ahead and welcome them into the room and hear exactly why. Teresa and Sheila, welcome. Ooh, it got crowded on the screen right there. Let me take this overlay off so I'm not hiding behind our website anymore.
Here's a story.
All right, let's make some friends and figure out why Johnny is not blowing smoke up all of our viewers' nether regions.
So, I don't know if you want to start or I want to start. So we've got Sheila Fejeran, who is not only one of the extreme badasses of eXp Realty, 15,000 agents in her downline, speaks on stage all over the country, has had to put together a massive team to run her industry, her division kind of thing. But her friend and the person that she brought into my life, Teresa Grobecker, who is the president, CEO of a company called Consortia. And I'm sure I'm saying it wrong, and I'm sure somebody will explain it and go through.
Was it Consortia, Sheila? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Consortia?
Consortia.
Perfect.
And there's a reason for the name, but that's Teresa Grobecker. And if one of the things that I want people to do before they turn it off or anything like that, I want you to go and Google both of these ladies' names and figure out and find out who this is, because in my opinion, these are the two women who are getting ready to change the real estate mortgage industry like no other. Like nothing I have seen in 20 years since AUS and digital LOSs came out. Teresa Grobecker and Sheila Fejeran.
Welcome to the pod. Thank you for being here with us, ladies.
Thank you for having us. So nice to see you here. Thank you for
it
listening.
Seems like
out there.
Johnny's saying change in the real estate industry, which means you're doing some new stuff.
Massive.
Probably integrating some new tech, probably shaking some trees, and probably pissing off a whole bunch of potential people who are currently in the real estate industry. So who is this going to upset the most?
Well, I think that Consortia, right? Like the name of it means consortium. And so we bring everyone from the ecosystem into one place. Everyone who touches the system actually benefits. So it's been like a perfect blending of everyone's skills. If you touch real estate, the transaction, ancillary services, when you come to Consortia, you win. Your clients do better. And if your clients have a better experience, then you're still relevant in the transaction. So We've actually made it to not piss people off because I really like my kneecaps and I'd like to stay alive as we launch this. Yeah.
I got your back. Don't worry about that. I got your back. And at some point, you'll be able to hire me full time to just do nothing but walk around and make sure nobody touches your kneecaps.
So how is Consortia touching all parts of the real estate transaction? Can you give us a little nickel tour of in a perfect world, people working with Consortia, either directly or third party or whatever it is? How does that transaction work? How does the business flow?
So I've tested this out a few times lately, and it seems to work okay-ish. So I'm going to go to caveman speak.
Yeah.
Blockchain.
Mm-hmm.
Home.
Yep.
Carfax.
Okay. So blockchain, for people that don't know, I kind of drill this down into say that it's an unhackable online ledger that
it's a spreadsheet,
right? That everybody has access to, and it tracks things. It tracks transactions whenever something moves in ownership from one person to another. It's logged on an online spreadsheet that can't be hacked or changed, and
I've watched
it just
before when people didn't know what blockchain was, and I understand that because it's something that's fairly new to the rest of the world. And she says she can say it better than I can, but basically think about a really nice, amazing Excel spreadsheet.
So we've all used Excel. Sometimes we share an Excel spreadsheet with somebody else, and we say, "You can come look at my spreadsheet." Other times we say, "You can write to my spreadsheet." So they're sharing permissions. I think, and this is what makes it blockchain, is the next step of that is if you have information about a house, about a transaction, property records, home inspection, appraisal report, title report, and you have that information about the house, you can monetize it. You have copyright, you have royalties that you can then go earn.
So she's turning properties into an NFT, putting
property data,
putting them inside of blockchain, and anybody who ever touches that property benefits from. So it's everything from real estate agents to appraisers to inspectors to handymen to plumbers. You name it, title companies, insurance companies, everything that touches that property. So everything that we go through in a transaction from day one goes inside of this system. Then the next time this property comes up for sale, if somebody wants to change it from single family to commercial, if somebody wants to come in and buy a property and tear down 10 of them and bring whatever it is, this system not only does it have a ledger on everything that's ever been done to it, it is, for a lack of better terms, sticking with U.S. lending guidelines, 7 days. It is immediate. So think of it this way: a listing agent taking that listing, everything either already being done or being done within minutes, seconds, days, to where that property is ready to sell. And I don't ever have to do any of the things as a buyer, any of the crap and garbage that make it such a minutia world in our industry, because the title's already done, the appraisal's already done, the inspection's already done. Everybody can see it. Not only can everybody see it, you can see exactly what is in the inspection when you get that permission. You can see exactly what's in the appraisal. Everything has already been done. And then, and I may not be able to talk about this, maybe she'll have to shut up, but then you've got a property that's already inside the blockchain. So in theory, if I say I'm going to give you $425 for it today, in 7 days, it's ready and I can close and buy it. But then taking the human and putting them inside of the same thing, because all of the craziness that we go through in our life, why do I have to go get all of that paperwork all over again if I refinance my property a year after I buy it, or whatever it may be, or when I want to add on. Why do I have to go through all of these things over and over again? And this is where her system is going to make it amazing. Now, she's already gotten FTC approval, and I'm sure I'm saying that wrong also. She's already got NAR is part of her company. We already have properties inside of the system. One of the things I'm getting a kick out of, and I'm just loving it, is the fact that she's putting out posts on social media saying, we've got whatever it is, 3,000 properties. I need agents to reach out to me today, kind of thing. So it's one of the days that, I mean, I got goosebumps and the hair stood up on my arms is when I got the email from these two ladies saying Fannie Mae wants us to do the beta test on this tomorrow, kind of thing. So it has gone that far and that fast. And I know I'm talking too much about it, but I am so excited and thrilled. Sheila, will you please, everything that I just screwed up saying, will you fix it? And then anything that you need to add to it, will you please add to it? By the way, Sheila just went through a hurricane. She's in Puerto Rico. So Sheila just went through a freaking hurricane.
Thank you, Jonny. Yeah. What you're saying is correct, but it's even bigger than that since we've emailed you last week. Not only are we working with Fannie, Freddie, VA, and HUD, we actually are now working with the Federal Reserve on the FedNow coin. So we're literally working with the government. We were asked to be on the U.S. Department subcommittee for appraisals to write the white paper. We just keep looking at each other going, did that just happen? Did that just happen? Because of all the things going on, it's just insane. But I think that I like to dumb things down. I like to make things really simple and help people understand, because everything comes down, as we all know, being in the industry a long time. How does this impact you? Why does this matter to you? For those of you listening, whether you're a mortgage person or an agent, why does this matter? Because we have the government asking Teresa and I to help change the process, literally asking us. So that means when I talk to Teresa, I say, listen, there's 4 times that things fall through in the process of purchasing a home. And the biggest pain points for everybody in the process to get the home closed, it's the appraisal, it's the home inspection, it's the title work, and it's the buyer financing. So what I said to Teresa when I first met her is I'm like, let's fix those things. I said, if we can fix those things, we've changed the world. And that's literally what we've done this year. So to
put it simply, for the people who do have any sort of experience with the home buying process, right, if there's a reason to put a contingency for it in a purchase agreement, it's a pain point.
Exactly. Yeah. So think about this. What we're doing on Consortia blockchain is that we're going to be able to, and we have approval, but we're waiting for the final legal written up for it. We have Fannie agreeing to let us test to act.
Oh no, Sheila froze on us.
She froze on us. Teresa, can you pick it up?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have Fannie and Freddie asking us to test. This is pretty cool. Putting the appraisal ahead of the.
Yeah, you froze on us, but Teresa's picking up for you.
Yeah, to put the appraisal before the listing. So we're trying to do that. We have to work through 3 variances in this process to make sure that we pass all the underwriting requirements for how appraisals get done. So think about this. We know the value or the range of the value, because the value of the house is the house. It is what it is. We have 5 AVMs that go, like, it doesn't change just because somebody is willing to pay another $150,000 cash for a property. Like, oh, okay, right. It is what it is. So what we're trying to do is get rid of that sickening feeling that goes on for 3 weeks. What is the house worth? I don't know. Do you know? Like, when do I cancel my lease agreement? Oh my God, do I lose my deposit? That needs to go away, because me packing up my silverware is the least of all my problems, right? Knowing where I'm going to lay my head to sleep, and where I wake up and feed my kids breakfast in the morning, when am I actually going to close escrow? When do we have certainty? So we can close this process in 7 days because we've got 3 days to do it on the front, 3 days on the back. So we're looking at 7 days. That's the goal to get to closing, right? So once we know that for sure, then people can make life plans, right? I need a seller rent back credit. Okay, you've got that. Or I know when I can get out of my house, I'm going to use bridge financing and I have certainty that my house is getting closed. You've got all kinds of financial options. It's just taking that uncertainty away. And when the customer gets that better experience, then they're like, okay, my realtor is still relevant in this. My loan agent, my loan officer, right, actually did his or her job. I'm fighting a fight on a text chat right now about a loan that like where we shouldn't have issues. Like I fight this every day as a loan officer, as a broker. So we're just trying to make this experience better for everyone. And here's the catch, right? For the people who do loans who are listening to this, there's a cost for locking a loan, right? And as we're seeing, it went up 75 basis points, and we're going up 75 basis points again. Every single loan that I've done this year, I have to arm wrestle my lender to send out that wire, right? Like I'm like, no, listen, mother trucker, send out that wire, because it's expensive to lock a loan, right? If we can condense that, who ends up winning? The borrower, because the cost of locking a loan is something that gets hedged by the institution, but then the buyer ends up picking it up. So this has so many do good impacts for the industry. We're just thrilled because we're at a point finally where people can spell blockchain. They're like, okay, it's not going to eat my lunch. This is going to help me help the customer. I get paid faster, right? Like everybody wins in the system.
And it cuts down to it's the borrower's time frame, because, and I was explaining this to a friend of mine that's going to be a first-time home buyer. You don't know, even though that closing date is November 3rd, you don't know, and I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but until you get those keys in your hand and you're physically in that property, there is no closing date. There is no guarantee. You see it all the times. And I'm so grateful that Sheila brought it up about the 4 pain points, because we see it all the time where title companies don't start title work until almost the very end. And then we find out, and they try and give us this story about, oh, we just found out that they've got a lien on their property from Sears Siding from 1972 or something like that, and then you've got, if you make this system, and one of these days, Mike, I want you guys to just get on your own Zoom. I brought this and showed this to Jonathan Gwynn, John Sherman, Matt, John. They've seen this. They're actually a part of this. I don't know if I can say that or not. If I can't say it, she would say so. But it's seeing that, and it's all of those things that are so unnecessary that not only, I mean, we've always made the joke, if you've got somebody with a strong 300 credit score that you close a loan on, at the end of it, who's happy? Nobody. But that's almost in transactions, period, because everybody has anxiety waiting for this. This system takes away the anxiety. And I mean, that's something that tells you right there how powerful this system is, that we've got Freddie, Fannie, Jenny, we've got the Fed, and we know the Fed needs all the help in the world, whether it be transitory, whether it be temporary. They need all the help in the world. I am glad that you shared that with me, because I had no idea.
The fact that the Fed is actually open to a system that can speed up a transaction, that's the shock of the episode for me. So that's great.
So check this out. Yeah, so for the pilot, we've got a state that wants to put their records on blockchain. That's crazy, amazing. Right? Like this is awesome, because then you can record. You've got the Fed Now project. I still call it FedCoin because I'm old school, because I've been in blockchain for a decade. So I saw it's Fed Now. Fed Now is going to be able to close 24/7, 365. And you're going to have a county online. Now we're going to do this during normal working hours, right? During the pilot, because like new things, right? You got to break things fast. Sure. But see where this goes. So it's no longer, did I make the wire cutoff? Did I make it to the county recording office? Because there's one place, is it Maine or Massachusetts, where they only allow 5 in a day? Was I one of the 5 that went to close today? Because they only, that's crazy. So now we can have certainty to close and record on blockchain for county recorders, not just on Consortia. We're talking about the actual county. Consumer has their stuff in a U-Haul moving van they know they can get into the house. Here are the keys. Go enjoy your new house. Like, and I think, and I just yelled at a lender today, I am not kind when I have to go and do this. I'm like, this is not just a matter of a transaction. This is not just a wire that gets sent out. This is a family that has kids that thinks they're moving into a house on Monday. Like, and that's what we have to remember. When we think about that person who's trying to get into a house, like, let's remember what we do. We protect the American dream. So that's our job. We're here to get humans in houses.
That's who we're in the business for. Because right now the purchase transaction is just a series of waiting.
Yes.
You're just waiting in different lines. You submit your offer and you wait to see if you get it accepted. Once it gets accepted, then you order the appraisal and you wait for the appraisal to be done to see if the value comes in. After the value comes in, then you order a home inspection. Then you wait to see if anything comes up on the home inspection. And then if you have to renegotiate based on the home inspection, then you're waiting to hear back from the seller on those renegotiations. And you're waiting for your final loan approval. And you're waiting for your updated closing date. And it's just a series of waiting. From the beginning, if all of that stuff is on blockchain, from the second you make and have an accepted offer, I assume, you gain access to all of the information on that property. Mm-hmm. And all of the information on that property tells you about value. It tells you about the bones of the house based on the previous home inspection and all the work that's been done to remedy those things since that home inspection had been done. And it just takes away so much of the wait. I'm on the West Coast. We wait in line. I know on the East Coast you wait online. But if you can get rid of some of those lines, then you might actually have people getting keys and moving into houses in quicker than 20, 30, 40 something days.
But you're forgetting so you got to remember the ancillary pieces of this also.
Well, don't make the assumption that I knew it to begin with. I'm ignorant about a lot of this, and I'm fine with that. I'm here to learn.
But looking at all the things that the permits, so out where you guys are at in California, I can't buy the house if there was never a permit pulled on that room that you built on and blah, blah, blah. I can't buy, there's all those problems.
Sure.
So all of that's inside. Now, the other thing is, and this is one where I've been angry for quite some time. We use it as a punchline talking about the internet fraud that these scammers are doing, where they send the email from the real estate agent or the title company that says, be sure and send your down payment here, wire your funds here. And it's, we brag about being $4 billion a year, $6 billion a year, blah, 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 things like that. These things are so easy to figure out. And it's because of a broken system. It's because I have to go to my bank and get a cashier's check, which is a pain in the butt. And then I have to explain to my bank who this cashier's check's for and what I'm doing with it. Then hopefully we're dealing with a title company that is savvy enough to realize this is a real cashier's check and we have a Fed funding number so we can fund now. In so many cases, and I don't know if you realize this or not, but you've got to send the cashier's check a week before closing so they can hammer that check, because it takes a week to get it taken care of. It's only in wet states that we don't have that problem. So it's one problem after another, and we create problems for this. Her system eliminates all of these problems. I am so looking forward to when even the mistakes that are made on the first ones that are going through and happening. I am so looking forward on when I can buy my first property inside of a system like this, where I don't have, and I've been in the business for 28 years, where I don't have to deal with all of the morons and the person that's supposed to send the wire that got the phone call from the daycare center and had to leave early. So your wire didn't go out, but you know what? I got to stay at my house tonight. You sit up there in the U-Haul.
Yeah, and we're really excited in these. We're supposed to officially say that we're talking with the Federal Reserve. Like, it's very prescriptive on how we say this. So we're talking to, and they're very excited. Anyway, but they,
Q card.
We are talking absolutely about the earnest money funds. Yeah. They're very excited about that, to integrate with all of the NAR portfolio companies. They're excited to, like, Consortia is going to be the entity that feeds this to the 2 million realtors, agents, and brokers. we're pretty pumped about that because it's going to be like there haven't been any changes in how we fundamentally move money or currency, the United States dollar, in 40 years. So we're at the front of this, you guys, as an industry to be integrated. It's the largest asset class in the world. So we're just pretty excited to get rid of it. And they're very keen on getting rid of the fraud that exists. They have checks and balances on the back end for validating bank accounts before money gets sent out. This is a game changer, you guys. And I'm just pleased because there is so much fraud that's out there in our industry. So do good for the customer. Yeah. Feels good.
Amen.
Absolutely.
Sheila,
this is one of the first things, if not the first thing, that the mortgage industry is actually going to be on the front end on. And maybe ever, because we're usually the tail in the back, following everybody else,
right,
trying to catch up. So this is incredible. But
we're the largest source of GDP.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, the most lacking of advancements of any other system out there.
Correct. And famously the most difficult transaction to close out of almost anything that you can buy outside of a $1 billion business. And even then, it still might be tougher to buy a house. And there's just so much room for improvement.
I can walk right now across the street to the Mercedes dealership as long as I've got a driver's license and an insurance card, and within 2 hours walk out with a $200,000 Mercedes, or I can spend 30 days of my life trying to buy a house for the same amount.
That's the second time we've heard that today, which is crazy. Like literally the second time, like by somebody who's OG in the industry. And I'll say this, the reason why I created Consortia, and I'm going to say it's before I knew like Sheila. When Sheila joined the company, we had adult supervision all of a sudden, and that's why we are where we are today. It was going nowhere very quickly until Sheila was like, oh, we're going to clean this shit up. She's like, this is how a business runs. So, but back in the day, this is my second blockchain company. So in the first one, I had to read all of Dodd-Frank. I had an amazing marriage. So like at 2 and 4 in the morning, I was like, oh, this is the sexiest thing I've ever seen. Like I'm reading it. It says that there has to be a ledger for every property, right? I'm like, oh, that's blockchain. I love Steve, by the way. We're great friends. So no disrespect. Like he and I are very, very happy as friends. But anyway, here's the point is like you follow the money, right? And Dodd-Frank says that there has to be this spreadsheet. So this was created for capital markets. This was created for the mortgage companies. And I think that like if you understand that real estate is nothing more than a financial transaction, now you got it, right? It's not pretty pictures. It's not like glamour shots agents. It's not virtual tours of houses. It is a financial transaction, the largest one most consumers will make. And if you start and end the conversation with the money, now you've got a solution.
That's the thing. It's easy to get caught up in it, but I always like to try to remind people that housing is an economy, not an emotion.
Yes.
They'll make another one. They'll make another one.
You know, that's what it is. It's all without the money, it's nothing.
Yep.
Sheila, talk to me. I want you part of this.
Sorry, I know the internet's going in and out down here. Electric's going in and out. So think about this for anybody on here who is a practitioner, whether you're a loan officer or whether you're an agent. So Teresa's example is, if it was 2010 and I could give you the opportunity to buy your zip code on Zillow, would you?
Without a doubt.
And everybody, of course,
absolutely.
Everybody, of course, is going to say, I would do anything to lock up my zip code. Well, that's what you have the opportunity now to do with Consortia. Because on Consortia, you can go back and literally have us mint every property you've ever sold and put it on the metaverse and have your name attached to every property you've ever sold. And then not only that, when you see a picture of it, and Johnny's seen a picture of it, it's so sexy looking. When you see all these red dots all over the map, you talk about authority when you go into an appointment with someone to show them your book of business that is verified. It's not like Zillow where, you have a review. Did that person actually write it? This is verifiable data, proven data that is, you're able to show people your actual success. And who doesn't want to be able to show their clients their success? So I don't know if Teresa wants to talk more to that, but I think that for anybody functioning as a loan officer or an agent, that's a game changer right there.
Yeah, I'll say that it is amazing. And then also what we're learning from, let's just say these loans are backed by certain institutions, and what they want to see is the record, right, of every loan being registered somewhere, exactly like how every airplane in the world is registered in one place. That's what we're talking about here, like a single source of truth. And this is being prescribed and told to us by minds much larger than mine or ours or anyone. So think about that. If you're tied into this forever ledger, would you do it for $1 a pop? Like, would you do it? Like, if I could go back and buy my footprint on Zillow, would you do it? Like, yeah, like it's built for the practitioner, right? So
I think to her point, I think the other part of this to remember is that when we first started this, capital markets and secondary markets, who we're partners with the gentleman who owns the largest distribution to the secondary markets, he's our partner in this. He said they want to know who that practitioner is. Meaning, if there's a nod on a property or a pre-foreclosure or a missed payment, they want to be able to go back and say, Teresa sold 123 Main Street. We want to contact Teresa, who sold 123 Main Street, and ask her if she'll go talk to Mr. Smith and see if we can help him refinance his house or help him sell his house so he doesn't have to go through foreclosure. So you're not only being tied on the front end from an authority perspective to be able to show what you've done, you're being tied on the back end from the capital markets and secondary markets so that you're able to be true consumer protection. We're calling it an advocacy agreement that we're doing with the people that we're doing this with, where you're going to truly be able to be their advocate in the future, that if anything happens to them, you're going to be the one that's contacted to be able to help save them from foreclosure and help them move to a better situation. So I love that part of it too, because of where I came from with all the HUD and REO business I did. And I mean, I was there when people were doing cash for keys and literally having the sheriff move their stuff out of their house. And that literally, you can't change when you've seen stuff like that. And if we can fix this and save people from that, and help people have dignity. Yeah, some people may have had a hardship and they have to move. Maybe they do have to get out of their home. We also have partners that Teresa brought to the table who are able to purchase the properties from them. So we even have backers that can purchase these properties on a national level. And so we've literally set everything up to make sure that we're doing every single thing possible for the consumer to protect them before and after they're in the home.
So think about that, Mike. Just think about it for a second. Homeowners don't ever return that phone call to that horrible servicing call center. Nobody wants that whatsoever. So think about the fact that the people who helped you in the beginning, in the first place, are now reaching out to you. Now, here's something that when I heard this the first time, I'm thinking to myself, this is just the most amazing thing ever. Because now, and I'm going to throw this out, Sheila, as the real estate agent that's calling me to help me, knows that I've got equity in my property, so I don't sit here and play this stupid not answering the voicemail game while my equity's running out. I've got a professional that's licensed that can tell me if I decide to sell this property, if I have to, or how to keep it, because she also knows the mortgage person who helped her get into that property.
Sure.
But she has the ability to say, let's save your $50,000 in equity. Let's put it up for sale. Let's get you, since something's going on in your life, let's get you that 50 grand, that 30 grand, 10 grand, whatever it is, in your pocket today, as opposed to playing this waiting game. And let's get you to where you're stable again, as opposed to playing this voicemail game with an auto attendant that nobody ever returns that phone call. I mean, from cradle to grave, the whole system, and it never stops. And we're running out of time. I know that, because believe it or not, Teresa's got to go back into surgery here in a second. From the very beginning, we're helping all the way through this. So it is the greatest revolution that has ever come to our industry. And I am so glad that people with a red type A personality are running this, putting it together, as opposed to the people that come up with grandiose ideas that never go anywhere.
I'd love to hop on with you ladies again one of these days and do another one of these in maybe a longer form, and we can just we can take people through beginning to the end of a property purchase process, and we can dissect every single step of how what Consortia's working on or talking to people about. Right, that's how we say it.
They've got the graphics.
Like how every step of the process will actually be.
They already have it.
Either improved or expedited, and how it's going to benefit not just the buyer and not just the seller, but the professionals involved in the transaction also. I think people would appreciate that and be able to give people a chance to kind of listen to it for themselves and take it from their own perspective and see how it's going to affect them. But until then, if people want to learn a little bit more or figure out how to support this, where can they go?
RE Consortia, CONSORTIA.com. RE Consortia.
Awesome.
You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for having us. You guys are amazing. Thank you, Sheila. Just so grateful to be here and be part of the conversation with you guys.
And before you go under anesthesia, Teresa, when you said that about the fact that you needed to have an adult present and Sheila being that I've traveled all over the country with her, so I know exactly what you mean. And it's not even a necessary evil; it's a necessity. So I am grateful for that, and that's one of the things. If there's any chance of me ever doing anything good in this world, it's because I've got Sheila Fejeran in my background.
There you go.
Absolutely. So when I go to Vegas with Sheila, like there's no table dancing. When I go to Vegas with like NAR, there's table dancing. That's on the web too. If you're going to Google, as Jonny said, Google Teresa, it's out there. So Sheila's my governor.
You can do the table dancing if Sheila's there. You just got to wait till 8:31 when she goes to bed.
Back.
Awesome. Thank you, ladies, so much. Teresa, I don't want to keep you much longer. Sheila, thank you for joining us shortly out of a hurricane, I guess, amongst some crazy conditions down there. Definitely looking forward to doing this again. And for everybody who watched and listened, thank you so much for being with us on the Fly the Flag podcast. This is an early introduction to something that's going to be huge in the industry. You heard it here first, but you're definitely not going to hear it here last. So thanks a lot, and we'll talk to all of y'all another time.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.